Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Wakwadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David, reborn again in this generation. Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the high prices of lumber. But before we get into that, let's read this. This is Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, but a just weight is his delight. Now, if you have been building anything recently in the last 2 years, or have just paid attention to building supplies, gone to Home Depot or whatnot, or even, just been around the net, right? There's a few minds popping up now that are basically shedding some light on what's going on with the prices of wood, lumber, basically, right? And that's that it's gone up about 3 times its price in the last 2 years. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this, and I'm going to go ahead and read, a few of these reasons, but I'm going to go ahead and also break down why this is biblical, all right? But let's go ahead and just go through just some of the things I gathered here, and let's go ahead and see what's up. It tells you here in this comic, it says, it's showing, that the prices are so bad that even this woodchuck, which actually it's a beaver, but this woodchuck is he's unable to understand the prices, man. Now, I found this on Reddit, right? And people are actually talking about it, right? Understanding that it's gone crazy, right? Let's go ahead and just read what this local contractor says, man, just so we have an understanding of how the people within the market feel about it. It says, it's fucking nuts right now. Some friend in constructions are having to put work on hold for some of the increases in prices right now. Clients just can't afford the prices. My wife's work in plumbing sales, check this out, even in her industry, things are crazy. Prices are up, but lead time to delivery are ridiculous. Now check that out, right? See, this is the real reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I'm not necessarily going to be speaking about lumber, right? But I'm going to talk about how this is really just the tip of the iceberg with what's going to come, right? Because you see, lumber is a resource, right? This is something that is used to make things, right? Now, the things that you are buying for the most part at stores, those are already end products. Those are things that have already been created, okay? Which means that the parts that were purchased, the resources that were purchased by the companies to make the things that you're buying, the t-shirts, the toys, the games, the paint, etc., has already been paid months back, years back even, right? And so you're not going to see this hike in inflation of prices yet, except for in those resources that are raw materials, right? Things like lumber, milk, meats, small things like that, right? Things that the businesses have to purchase, right? There's there's an order that the industry, right, the companies that make stuff, that they make yearly, right? And it's called the durable goods order, right? And this year it was way down, meaning that a lot of businesses just are not buying what they used to. And why is that? Well, demand is down. That, and also because prices have gone up. That, and like it tells you here, lead time, right? Lead time is basically how long it takes to get from China or anywhere in the world it comes from. Usually it's China here to America, right? Now, I recently purchased a washer and dryer, right, from Home Depot, right? It took 2 months for it to get to my house, okay? So that shows you, Akim, that this economy is been grounded. Basically, it's grinding to a halt, man. The wheels are stopping, and that's because the people who are running the system, they're shutting the system down because they're about to restart it in a new way, right? In the new world orders, method, right? And this is going to mean buying things more locally, or just having to pay more if you want things, that are from faraway places, right? You're gonna have to pay for that convenience more so than what you used to. It's continuing. It says simple faucets, which were 2 to 3 weeks delivery, are 6 to 8 months out. So you see that from under a month to now half a year, over half a year to get faucets, man. Now again, like if I'm speaking from experience, right? If this is for all appliances at all these stores, man. Home Depot, Lowe's, everything, for the most part, it took months to get out, man, to get these things in, right? And why is that? Well, there's a previous lesson I made regarding the ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal, how that had created a backup, and how that right there was one of two backups. The other backup was here in Long Beach, man. There were, at the time when I made the lesson, there's about 22 ships, I believe, that are waiting to dock and unload their cargo. But the reason why I was stuck, or there was a backup, is because there was no place to unload the cargo containers to because the Long Beach dock is basically filled up with empty containers, things that cannot be moved around. Okay, so these are little things that we're just seeing happening in the economy, right? And now again, your average citizen is not going to see this yet, right? They're going to see this in a few months when it's unavoidable, right? When they're buying their regular things at the store, when things are just sold out, they won't be able to buy the shirts they want. They won't be able to buy the shoes, the food, or if it is in the store, it's going to be way too expensive, right? We're going through that famine and that inflation that we've been warning about now for years. Okay, let's read what this other person says here, right? This is from Ramona Rabin. She says, local light fixture lady here. We are also experiencing super long lead times, right? There you go. So this is somebody who sells lights, right? Like at a hardware store. My city is growing 100 people a week, and they can't build the houses fast enough to accommodate all the transplants. Now, what does this tell us right here? Well, this right here tells us that, that there's a lot of people understanding what's going on in this world, right? They understand that the system is changing, and they're moving, right? In my real world experience, I recently moved out of the city, right? Lord had mercy on me, and He blessed me to find me a place outside of the city, right? I'm a little bit further from my work, but it's a lot calmer where I'm staying at now, right? And a lot of other people are doing that too, right? You're seeing a mass exodus out of the cities, and this is usually what happens when the economy is about to collapse, right? Continuing, it says, I'm constantly shocked at the cost of new build right now. And the local lumberyard burnt down last month, so there go doors with that too, right? So this just shows you, man, prices are going crazy. Now, one article or one comment I want to read here is somebody actually explains, where is it? All right, here's one of them. It says it has increased 364% since a year ago. Okay, and check this out. This is showing you how it's grown so much. Look at the price right now. This right here is LBI. It's a lumber company. Okay, and their stock price has gone up to just show you how much lumber has inflated in price, man. Right, so this shows you, man, that this is it's going crazy, right? And also, it looks like it's if when you zoom in, it looks like it's kind of leveling out now, right? So, but the thing is that this right here is crazy compared to just last year, right? Even at its spike last year in September, uh, it's almost doubled. It's basically doubled what it was at the spike of last year, right? Now, that being said, let's go and read this other comment that kind of explains why. Because see, the Lord right now, He is attacking Esau's system on all corners, right? The Lord, like the Lord said, man, that these devils that they would be afraid on all sides, right? But when the Lord would bring calamity upon them, that they would be scared on all sides, which means He's attacking them on every side, right? And besides the infestation of, I think it's called the pine beetle infestation in the West, right? There's that's caused there to be less timber that can be cut, right? He's also caused Trump's tariffs, which is a big part of this, man, right? A lot of people out there were loving Trump, man, but remember his Buy America? Well, this is what that Buy America tariff that his ass put on all imports, including the wood that America usually gets from Canada, has now done, man. This is where most of the problem is. But let's go and read this comment from Unmanageable. It says, Trump put tariffs on Canadian lumber in 2017 and other countries up to 24% above market domestic price and made supplies prohibitively expensive to import wood. This was the America First nationalistic economic policy. Couple this with the U.S. tree farms losing a massive subsidy that lapsed in 2007 and was never renewed and made farmers have less incentives to grow lumber. And what that basically was is that basically America was paying food farmers to stop growing food and instead grow lumber so it could be used for wood. And that they did that because they wanted to keep food prices relatively higher than they were before. Because if they would allow all these farmers to grow food, then what would happen is food prices would fall. Everything would be so cheap that basically the farmers would end up losing because they wouldn't be able to sell anything for anything but except for bottom rates, which would basically mean that they would go out of business. So that subsidy has gone away, and now those farmers that used to sell lumber now have reverted back to selling food, right? But let's continue. It says the U.S. domestic lumber supply cannot keep up with the demand, and as stores run dry, the market price increases and makes importing even less viable, as those prices rose proportionately too. Lumber farmers are on a 15 to 50 year farming cycle, depending on the types of trees, and the low supply of the high demand has caused wood prices to skyrocket based on market speculation, knowing that the supply hasn't been well renewed in the last 14 years and will lead to an eventual industry outage if it was sold at lower prices, right? So too long didn't read. Basically, the best time to plant trees for lumber was 14 years ago. The second best time is today. Also, please note that these tariffs also were applied to many industries to get us to buy American, right? And this is part of that whole, America trying to heal itself, man. Like it tells you in the scriptures, right? That we would have healed Babylon the Great, but it is not healed. You see, all these little schemes and gimmicks that America is going to try to revive the American economy, they're not going to work. It tells you in the Bible that the Lord has broken the staff of the rulers. Okay, He has destroyed this kingdom, and they just don't. These Edomites, which are the so-called Caucasian race, they just don't know it yet, right? They think that they can still fix this, right? But the rulers of this world, the top Edomites, the one percenters who are internationalists, the bankers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the royal family, they understand that America's over, right? Because they're the ones pushing the policies for the NWO, and they're basically closing America down, right? But the thing is, again, the majority of the Edomites here in America, they don't know that. This is why they're fighting so hard to keep it. Namely, the Republicans, the conservatives, that is, right? Now, that being said, let's continue. It says, without any prior ramping up of industry to support the nationalistic economic policy of said former administrations, do expect other industries involving steel, aluminum, washing machines, which is what I just told you, solar panels, automobiles, and many more, right? So repeat after me. Tariffs are taxes on your own people, right? So you see that? So we are only beginning to see the tip of the spear here, people. We're going to see prices for other things go out of control and inflate, right? Lumber is simply the first thing. Now, here goes another example, right? It shows you, man. It says wood costs to build a deck, right? Using 2,400 board feet or 200 square feet, right? In April of last year, it would have cost you $936. In April, just a year difference, it now costs $3,696, right? So check that out, Akim, right? The Lord is smited America, man, right? It is given it a grievous wound, because what does this do? This right here puts a big dent on all the construction that's going on in America. Now, yeah, it's hurting the people who have homes who are doing little projects, right? But the big people that it's hurting are all these home builders, all these people who actually need this lumber, right, to build buildings, so that way they could then create all these jobs, right? All these jobs that were in construction, which for the most part have been continuing during this whole COVID thing, right? Now they're starting to become affected, right? And pretty soon there are going to be jobs that are just going to shut down because they've run out of money, right? So again, this shows you just how can I say, how broad and the Lord's power is to be able to cripple his enemies, right? Namely the nation of Edom, right? And its Babylonian kingdom, which is America, right? Now, let's read this. This is Jeremiah 15:2. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Ashai, such as are for death to death, and such are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. All right, so just as it was back in the days when we were in our land of Israel, right, but we were going to be sent to Babylon as captives, right? This is what the Lord told Jeremiah, right? But this also is applying to today, right? Now that we are in the new Babylon, right? There are going to be some who are going to fall for all these sorts of death, right? Namely this part here, the famine. Because again, what you're seeing right now with the high prices of lumber and eventually all those other commodities you're seeing there, all that is going to eventually affect jobs and businesses. And when those jobs and businesses are affected, that then is going to affect the economy, right? And when that economy gets hit like that, then that's going to affect the food prices, man, right? And then that's when you're going to start seeing major shortages, and we're going to basically be living through what Brazil and Venezuela lived through, or went through, right? Where you had massive inflation, basically famine, right? That's what's coming, people. That's what's coming here to America, and this is the beginning part of it, right? So says the Bible, right? And here is an article from Zero Hedge that echoes this, man. It says it's about to get much worse. Supply chains implode as price doesn't even matter anymore, right? Check that out, man. The number of container ships stuck at anchor off Los Angeles and Long Beach is down to around 20 per day from 30 a few months ago. Does this mean the capacity crunch in the Trans-Pacific market is finally easing? Absolutely not. Warnerjaras Paskas, Vice President of Global Oceans at freight forwarder Flexport, it's not getting better, it's getting worse, right? He told American Shipper in an interview on Monday, "What I'm seeing is unprecedented. We are seeing a tsunami of freight," he reported. For the months of May, everything on the Trans-Pacific is basically sold out. We had one client who needed something loaded in May that was extremely urgent and who was ready to pay $15,000 per container. I couldn't get it loaded. And we are a growing company that ships a lot of TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units. Basically these containers here. Price doesn't always even matter anymore, right? Paskas said that Trans-Pacific imports volumes are still rising. He noted that January Trans-Pacific imports were up 10% versus 2019. Comparisons to 2020 numbers are skewed by COVID, and 13.5 in February that jumped 51% in March. So we're now at 1.5 pre-pandemic levels, with imports far outpacing retail sales, right? So check that out. Imports far outpacing retail sales growth, right? So they're basically importing more stuff than what people are even buying, right? So, and he attributed the volumes to inventory restocking, right? So basically what's happening in this case here, these companies are basically are restocking what they're not even selling. So what does that mean? That means that they're going to stop buying so much, and then there's going to be a dip in this shipping. It says the restocking is actually affecting the trade even more than growth and demand. That tells me that this will last even longer. Let's say U.S. consumers' demand slows down in quarter 3 and quarter 4. That's not expected, but even if it does, capacity, availability, and rates shouldn't improve quickly simply because of the huge restocking demand. Paskas also believes there is a growing export backlog piling up each day in Asia, awaiting available ship slots. If that backlog grows too big, he said, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. And as a result of the backlog and restocking demand, he thinks prices will remain high and shipping will probably remain difficult for the rest of the year. And then after that, you have the peak for Chinese New Year. So you see, so this right here, ultimately, even though these businesses are buying, right, from the suppliers, it doesn't mean that the people are buying, okay? So these are basically empty purchases. Now, the other thing about that, that's causing all the backlog, which was spoken about earlier in those comments, man. The things are taking so long to get here to America, right? But again, these are just the pains that are going on, man, right now, right? These are just the very beginning parts of ultimately the famine and the market collapse that will eventually come. So says the Bible. Now, with all that said, it's a good time to now turn to the Lord, because again, if you could see the writing on the wall, if you understand what's happening, man, things are about to go crazy, right? When the economy collapses and they can't basically buy off the people anymore because the money that they're being paid with no longer is buying the goods that they're going to be able to need, then all the shit's going to hit the fan, as it's popularly said, right? And this is where this comes in. This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Right? So there you go, right? This is a time to turn to the Lord, right? Just like that comment said, man, the best time to have turned to the Lord was years ago, right? The second best time is today, right? You need to repent, right? And what do you got to do to repent? What does that mean? That basically means that you need to stop doing what you were doing in this world, man. You need to stop living this American dream. You got to, basically start listening to what the Bible says, right? And sin less, right? Let's go and get that. This is Ecclesiasticus 17 and 25. Return unto the Lord and forsake thy sins. Make thy prayer before his face and offend less. Right? So this is the time, Akim. Right? If you stumbled upon this video, or if you just haven't, decided to fully turn to the Lord, this would be the best time to do it, man. The sooner the better, right? Before that evil day comes and you have no time to do it, man. Right? So hopefully this video was edifying. Hopefully it was a bit enlightening as far as what's going on with the lumber and the market. So until the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakal, Kardash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.